Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Wolves of Shadowed Fate. Episode 16. Chapter 87-92. Raven's POV. I watched as the bigger kids started to line up at the start of the course, as the rock wall is about 20 feet long, and can take several climbing it at once. I am so excited to see how well the kids will do on it, as this is the first time that they will be actually being able to do it. Brandon and Justin are both at the starting line giving them all instructions, but after the kids take off, they will split up to go to be at different areas to help the children in case some of them get stuck. The course curves back around at the rope wall that is the midway point, and the end of the course is about 100 feet from where we are currently standing now. I want to be there to see my babies cross the finish line. I can't see the whole course from where we are standing, but we have walked it before as a family with the kids. Brandon and Justin had given them instructions about how to successfully navigate it. I can't wait to see how well they do today. I can see Lainey and crew giving their son last-minute advice at the starting line. Warwick, their oldest son, is about to turn 5 next week, so he is going to do the course with them. They are a tight group of friends, and I knew that Jax and Blaine would have waited until next week to do it with him, even if they missed the opening of the course. Warwick has alpha blood in him too, as Crew is his father, and he was chomping at the bit to do this too. Warwick's name means leader who defends, and I have to admit that we all did the same things. We all found strong names for all of our children. I started that with Jackson, and it just sort of caught on with everyone else. Brandon's father's name is Jackson, so it is twofold, as it is a namesake with a twist of how to spell it. Plus, Jackson means healer and his middle name Conal means strong wolf. Each of the children's names means something. Liam Barron, from our first set of twins, with Liam meaning strong-willed warrior and protector, and Baron meaning fighter, or warrior. Liam got a double dipping on the warrior part. The guys got to choose a name each and clearly had the same train of thought for Liam's name. Chase Quinlan, the other twin, was named Quinlan meaning strong. Dexter Conrad, with Dexter meaning skillful, and Conrad meaning brave counsel. The girls also had strong names, as Emerson means brave and powerful, and her middle name Harlow means army. Her twin sister Sasha's name means defender, and her middle name Rain means queen. Both Justin and Brandon were really into the special names and their meanings, and had the girls' names both beautiful, and made sure that the meanings of their names also flowed well too. I guess we all got into it, because when we were telling Stella and Truett and Lainey and Crew what Jax's name meant, they started to change the names that they had come up with a little too. They said, and I quote, "We want our kids to have cool, meaningful names too." I think with the upcoming war on all of our minds, we just wanted to give them as much encouragement and build them up as much as we possibly could. They were born to defend not just our pack, but all the supernatural beings. Stella and Truett named their children Blaine William, with William meaning protection. Andrew Wyatt, who is almost 4.5. His middle name Wyatt means battle, brave, and hardy. Aiden Barrett has a great name. Aiden means little fire, and Barrett means brave as a bear. Aiden is almost 4, and he is full of fire. He has never met a stranger, and he is such a great little guy. He has 2 younger sisters, Win Eden, who is just a doll and looks just like her mother, and is a little over 3. Win means peacemaker, as that was what they are actually trying to achieve. She was truly meant for her name, as she is the best peacemaker of all the children. She can see both sides of the coin, as she is the most empathetic little girl I have ever met. She cares, and although she is going to train like the rest of the kids, we already know that she will probably be the one to help stop the conflict. Their baby, Orla Wren, who is a little over 2 years old, has a beautiful name too. Orla is Irish and means golden princess. Stella wanted to stop at 5, but Truett is still begging for one more, as he wants to have 6 children in their family too. He just loves Stella so much, and he loves to take care of her when she is pregnant. I would bet money that they will probably have another baby. Lainey and Crew had the 4 babies, and they are done, as far as Lainey is concerned. She doesn't want anyone to be missed in the family, so she strives to have a special day once a month, for each of them to know how special they are to her and Crew. Their second child, Gabriel Ferguson, is 7 months younger than Warwick. Gabriel means strong man, or hero, and Ferguson means man of courage. Little Kendrick Peter just turned 4 this week. He was intended to be the last, but Crew wanted to try again for a baby girl after his 3rd son. Kendrick has a lot of meaning to it. It means royal and bold power or just power. Peter means stone, which Crew and Lainey took to mean strong because stones are strong. At a little over 3 years old, their precious baby girl arrived. Crew was just as rapt as Brandon, Justin, and Truett were over their girls. Little Amira Quinn was a doll. She is her mother made over. Don't let her cute name fool you, she is a tough cookie. Her father is having to hold her so she can't run off and do the course with her brothers. Amira means commander, and Quinn means wise. She is very smart, and she is naturally curious, but her mind was truly made for problem solving. Crew will have to hold her the whole time to keep her from taking off right after them when they start this course. Lainey and Crew walk up with Amira, who is begging to be put down, and both Stella and I have to hide our smiles. That baby girl is fierce, and she is going to be a handful when she grows up. I can't wait to see what she is going to do one of these days. I see that Gabe and Kendrick are now at the back of the pack to do the race, and I know it is because Gabe will be keeping an eye out for his little brother. Since they are only 4, it is best to just let the kids stay at the back, and let the bigger kids go ahead and take off without them. No sense in them getting hurt, when they will potentially be a little slower than the other children. The children are all ready to start the course, and Brandon blows the whistle to let them know the race has started. I watch as Jax is keeping up with boys that are 8 and up as they head up the rock wall. He is not missing a handhold or foothold as he climbs up the wall. I see that Blaine and Warwick are right behind him up the wall. One after another, I know that Jax told them to do what he does, and they are setting a quick pace on the course. They hit the angled boards and jump from side to side to get through it like it was a piece of cake. Pushing off the board to have enough momentum to reach the next board. They head off to the part where you have to get on your stomach and have to keep almost flat to the ground, to army crawl underneath camouflage netting. They make quick work of that obstacle too, and manage to get through the bars and realized quickly how to use their arms to swing themselves over to grab the next rung and continue on across. They are all fast runners and pick up time as they go through the cones, zigzagging back and forth one behind the other as they follow Jax. They hit the rope wall at the same time, and climb up side by side. They make it look easy, but it is not. We climbed that rope wall before in the adult area, and it was very tough. It takes a lot of upper body strength to do it, and it wears you down quickly. My heart was in my throat until they all 3 swung their leg over the top, and got their footing to descend on the other side of it. As they were climbing down, we walked over to the finish line, and as soon as we got there, the boys were heading to the next obstacle. It is tougher climbing down than it is to climb up it. The next obstacle was hard because you had to jump from each stump, with each stump higher than the last until you got to the middle. There were no handholds, you just jumped from stump to stump. It got higher, to about 5 feet tall in the middle, and then lowered back down again, until when you got to the end of it you can just jump down from about 1.5 feet up. Heading down the other side was also harder, as you had to slow down or your momentum would cause you to fall as you descended. It really makes you use your core muscles to get through it, and it is much tougher than it looks. But what I am seeing is the thrill and excitement on all of the children's faces as they run the course. They are laughing in happiness, and so focused on the next obstacle. This was not a workout to them, this was fun, and that made me so happy that they were all clearly enjoying it. Justin and Brandon had put a lot of thought into each step of this, and it really shows. The next obstacle was over a small, 1-foot deep water feature. We went ahead and put chlorine in it, to keep the bugs away from it. There were 2 rope bridge areas to cross over it. With 2 ropes to get you across, one for their feet to walk on, and one for their arms to hold onto. The military uses the same thing in their courses. There is a third area which is a 4-inch wide balance beam in the center. The taller children will be able to use the rope bridge, the younger children will have straps hanging down every foot, for them to be able to hold onto for them to balance, as they crossed. That way children of all ages can use the obstacle. Hand and foot coordination, and another brilliant idea. Justin and Brandon made sure that the children will be working out every muscle group as they went through the course. They did need to train, I acknowledge that. But they are still children, and they want to have fun too. There are 2 lanes for hurdles for the bigger kids, and 2 straight lanes for the younger children to run with no obstructions. The obstacle course is also good for problem solving, figuring out how to conquer each obstacle in their path. It also is a good way to encourage memory function in children too. They put a couple of different choices at the end of the course, for the children to pick out, with various degrees of difficulty. Each one is about 2 to 6 feet above the ground, depending on the level you pick. If you don't pay attention you could fall off. If you fall off, you have to restart this section of the course. Different things to do to challenge yourself, for the children, like climbing obstacles at vacation destinations. Except these are lower to the ground, and without using a harness. It allows the older children to be able to challenge themselves before they are ready to move up to the adult course. It will depend on the level they are at, and whether or not Brandon allows them to move up. With all the screaming and yelling in their excitement at being able to do the course, it is a complete success. All the parents of the children are at the finish line watching their children decide which route they will take to finish the course. I made sure that we put the children's course near the already established playground. That was for 2 reasons. The first one was in case one of the children went on it without an adult around. It can be seen from the back of the pack house, or from the playground next to it, in case someone gets hurt. The second reason for it was so that the children can use it while their parents take the younger children to the park. The younger ones can play at the playground, and the older ones can play on the course. They will be able to challenge themselves and become stronger all at the same time, without even realizing that they are benefiting from it. I think that Brandon and Justin have hit it out of the stratosphere with this, and from all the parents' smiling faces around us, they think so too. We see the first few children coming in and the last thing to do is climb the rope and hit the bell, about 10 feet off the ground. It shows that you completed the course, and you should be proud of your accomplishments. They have 3 ropes total, and 2 of the ropes have knots in them, to make it easier to climb, as you can use your feet on the knots to make it easier for the children to get up the rope. The one on the far end is for the older children, and they will not be getting any help to climb it. It is much harder than the other 2 as there are no knots on this one, but you also get bragging rights for doing it, as you will be using your upper body to physically pull yourself up the rope to ring the bell. I can see Jax jogging up with Blaine and Warwick, hot on his heels. The older children had all come in. They were 9 years old, and they really liked the course too. I can see the minute Jax sees the rope with no knots in it, and he heads right for it. He amazes me with his drive, especially at such a young age. It is clear the goddess had a hand in this. He has been like this since he could walk. He is an amazing young man, and at only 5 years old, his focus on being successful at whatever he attempts to do still stuns me. Even at such a young age, he has so much drive. He instills confidence in himself from others, and I know when he does take over this pack, he will do great things. The bells all sound at about the same time as they get to the top. I can see how proud Brandon and Justin are as the twins, Liam and Chase, and finally Dexter complete the course. They didn't skip over anything except the 2 very hardest parts, and that shows just how strong they are as well. I am so very proud of my family. My babies are my world and I am so proud of all of them, for many different things. Brandon and Justin came in with the younger boys, as they were near the back of the pack as they ran it, but they are young, so it took them longer. They hugged the boys first and then grabbed the girls from me so I could get down and congratulate them too. I had to tell them how proud I was of each one of them for doing such a hard course. Stella and Truett are telling Blaine, Andrew, and Aiden how great they all did. I am glad that Truett mentioned a great job for all 3 of them on different obstacles. It showed them that he had been watching them, and that made them happy to earn his praise. Warwick, Gabe, and Kendrick were also praised by crew as well. They were beaming with pride at doing the best they could on the new course. Jackson and Angie were there, along with Truett's parents, Edward and Devon. They were so impressed by how well the children did. They were also impressed by how mentally and physically challenging the course was for the children. They were well aware of what we were doing to get the children prepared for what was coming. I am so glad they enjoyed getting to run the course, and of course, Blaine and Warwick came back to Jax and asked if he wanted to run it again before we went to dinner. The men all stayed behind to let the boys run it a second time, while we took the girls in for dinner. They will catch up to us. This is a bonding opportunity between them and the boys, and they wanted to give them additional tips for the course. Things that they saw to help the boys with it, as they were running it earlier. I am looking forward to tonight, as I had let the girls play on the playground while the boys were getting their instructions for the course and walking it with their dads. All of the children should sleep well tonight, which will let us parents have some bonding time too. I guess I have something to be looking forward to tonight as well. Chapter 88 Justin's POV. The boys did a great job on the course today. They were machines, and they all listened to our instructions. Not to brag, but I am so proud of our children. Each one of them is so special to me, and I am still hoping that the goddess will give us grace and allow us to have more pups. We have been trying to have more pups, but have not been successful just yet. I know that Brandon will be just as happy for 1 more, or 2 more, as I would. It doesn't matter who the father is, the pup will still be ours in my eyes. We do not differentiate between them. Yes, the child may favor Brandon, or me, but we really do love each and every one of them. I would like to have another girl. We have 4 boys, but only 2 girls. We are so protective of the girls, much more so than the boys. The boys are older, and despite their age are already fierce fighters. We are safe inside the pack. Brandon doesn't let anyone that is not vetted into our parkland. Usually, it is single parents where the other parents might have been hurt or killed, and they had to get free. As long as they haven't committed a crime or any of our laws, Brandon will usually help them, especially if they have pups. He does try to go further to help if there are children involved these days, as he knows how much the safety of our own children is to all of us. So far, nothing bad has happened with any of the new pack members, except for Barbara. She would not take no for an answer. Her husband had been killed while out scouting in a rogue territory near their pack about 2 years ago. He never came home from that scouting expedition. The men with him all said that he had been killed by several rogues, as they had been ambushed. They didn't even bring his body back for her to have any closure, but they had been outnumbered 3-1 by the rogues, and they had run away to live to fight another day. I felt bad for her, as she had lost her mate, and that type of loss can kill you. It was the only reason I hadn't told Brandon about her staying after me. Just because I felt bad for her, didn't mean that I wanted to date her. She didn't need to keep asking me out. It does not flatter me when women do that. I only have eyes for one woman, and that is Raven. She is my world. I would be crushed if anything happened to her. I don't even know if the children would be able to fully pull me out of my misery. I know for a fact that Brandon would be the same way if we lost Raven. I do not even want to imagine how hard that loss would be for us. That fear alone is why Brandon is making an area for the women to be secured, but they don't see it that way. They don't want to be safely tucked away with the others who cannot fight, the young children, and the elderly. Raven, Stella, and Lainey all still plan on fighting, despite what we say. I know that they are all strong fighters, but we are worried about them. We just keep letting them train, as that is a plus for us and the pack for us to all stay strong, but we will fight that battle closer to when the time comes. I already know that it will be impossible for her to let us, and the kids be out here fighting without her. But we still plan on doing just that. I hope that when it comes down to it, we will find out who or where the attack will be coming from and cut them off at the knees, by attacking them first, when they don't expect it. That is what I was praying to the goddess for each night. She listened to me once, and gave me Raven back, even though I really thought it was fruitless to keep praying. So, I really think that if I keep at it, we may be able to turn it around in our favor. Cole has never stopped looking for them. He wants justice to be served, and Reagan to get the sentence that she and Graham have earned. He knows that they are alive, and just in hiding. Graham continues to keep his businesses flourishing, and he is making a lot of money. There is no way that he isn't alive, and we all know it. Neither Cassandra nor Reagan would be able to be running it successfully. They just wouldn't care to make the choices needed. They would just be out and spending the money from the gain, not actively working to make the company bigger and stronger. The company is making more than enough for them to stay hidden forever. The council has not been able to find Graham or the other 5 of them, and they are still searching as well. The money had been increased, and now it sits at $500,000. The council didn't like them escaping from punishment either, and they chipped in with Blackadder and Bloodwalker to apply more pressure on whoever is protecting them. They are very upset that they managed to get away. Cole blames himself, but Brandon and I were involved in it too, and none of us expected them to be able to get away like that. We all wanted to clarify and make sure that people didn't think that it was Raven in that terrible video, and we all wanted it straightened out. In hindsight, we shouldn't have given them any time. We should have surrounded them, and waited them out. Attacked them, and took care of the problem. We were cocky, and it cost us. They would not have lasted a month, and we would have gotten it taken care of then. They would have either been killed by the pack to get us to stop, or taken prisoner by the pack members and then turned over to us, or the council. I wish that had happened because Brandon, Cole, and I all suspect that they will be with the 2 packs in question that are wanting to take over. I cannot imagine the amount of conceit someone would have, to think that they are better than any other species. We are all here for a reason, we were all created to serve a purpose, and we were all important. I have met a lot of alphas who thought that they knew better than the council, and even more than the goddess herself, but they are wrong. So very wrong. We let the boys run the obstacle course, twice instead of just once, while the oldest three ran it twice, and the younger guys were wiped from their second time through. They were doing so well, and we were having just as much fun watching them in their excitement, which was contagious to see. We each held a young child as we watched the older children run it the second time. We stood just inside the middle of the course, as soon as they climbed the rock wall. They were faster and faster each time they ran it. I already knew that Jax was figuring the course out, and quickly. I knew that we were probably going to have to increase the challenge of it very soon. He would need it, they all would, and I was glad that Jackson and Edward had stayed out here with us, to hold the younger ones, as they were wiped and didn't want to walk back to the pack house for dinner. By the time we got to the dining room, the women were done with their meal, but they hopped up to go make plates for the little ones, the second they saw us come in. Once they were in their chairs, Brandon and I went to help Raven by delivering the 2 plates she had already made for the twins. She already knew that we were going to let them run it a second time probably. It is hard to resist them when they beg to do something, and as tough as Brandon and I are, we are pretty much pushovers for our children. The children managed to make it through the meal, and we got them to the bathrooms. I put the twins and Dex in a bath, and Brandon got the shower ready for Jax and came back to help me get the 3 younger ones clean. Raven was bathing the girls, and it seemed like it will be an early night for all of the kids. Which means a good night for us too. I am trying to tamp down my excitement at the thought of it. That may also have been a factor when we made the decision when the older kids wanted to run it a second time. It is nice to be able to get an uninterrupted night for us, 6 children all aged 5 and under. It is very difficult not to be interrupted in the middle of something. I think that today we all had an undeclared idea for us to be able to be together tonight. The boys all have their own rooms, but the twins, Liam and Chase, keep the door between their rooms open. The girls, as the youngest, are in my old room on the other side of our bathroom. Brandon built onto the pack house and added 3 more rooms on the expansion for our level, which added 5 extra rooms per floor for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors too. He added 2 industrial freezers with backup generators, a larger dry storage area, and more storage for the laundry room too. There is now plenty of room for clean linens, blankets, and towels. That left room for 2 extra washers and dryers in the actual laundry area, making the whole 1st floor much more effective too. The girls will get their own rooms when they turn 4, or when they ask to move into them. They were already included in the expansion. Brandon reads a bedtime story to Jax and Dex, and I read one to Liam and Chase. Raven is reading one to the girls, as we are all ready to grab our showers and head to bed too. I am trying to not think about it, as I am getting a really pressing matter and I don't need that right now. I focus on the book and by the time I get to the end of it, they are asleep, and I have my issue contained. I kissed them both on the top of their head, and go to do the same with Jax and Dex. Brandon is done too and headed to kiss the twins good night. The girls are light sleepers, so we had already kissed them good night before their baths. Brandon was in the shower when I came into the room, so I spent my time lighting some candles to set the mood, just in case she wasn't aware of what plans Brandon and I had for tonight. My room and Brandon's room were already soundproofed. We had alarms installed in my old room, which included flashing lights and an alarm that sounded in our room if their windows, or their door that we changed into an emergency door, were opened in the girls' room. We take no chances on the safety of our children. Brandon is done and comes out with a towel around his hips. I know we are all on the same page now, as I ran to go grab my shower. I am almost done when Raven enters the room and starts to take her clothes off to grab her shower. I left the water running for her and exited the shower to dry off with an excellent view. Raven laughed at me, obviously checking her out, and turned her back to me to wash her hair. Raven is perfect, and that is not the Bond talking. I find her so *XY, and I prayed again to the goddess for another baby. I would love another one, or two if I can talk her into it. As the kids get older, it gets different, but a little easier. We all worked together to get this done, and it has worked out well for it. None of us said anything to the other, and yet we are like a well-oiled machine here at bedtime. Babies and toddlers need to be watched all the time, to make sure that they are okay. Plus Brandon has gotten better about having one day when he lets me help him in the office, and we all buckle down and get him caught back up again. Brandon, Crew, Truette, and I all work on all the paperwork to free up time for all of us. Crew is now a second beta to the pack, and in us doing that, the women take the kids to the playground, with some warriors, just in case. The warriors were mine and Brandon's idea, but Truette and Crew agreed too. The children are valuable and need to be protected, and the playground is right out back. We can see them through the window, to make sure they are all okay while we get caught up. We could be there in less than a minute if needed. Raven balked at the idea of the warriors coming with them at first but calmed down after we pointed out that with 6 children she couldn't FGHT off numerous people at once. She is willing to accept the help, as she dotes on them too. Raven has filled out well in the last 5 years, her body is softer than before. I am sure that is because of the pregnancies. She works out all the time, and she is kavya in all the right places. I think she has never been more beautiful in her life. She thinks I am just trying to charm her. I will never lie to her, I really do think that she is stunning. I hope that tonight is the night that we make another baby. I just enjoy seeing her heavy with our child. I would love to see it one more time. This child would probably be too young to fight in the war that we were warned of, but they would be trained, just as their brothers and sisters were. I am getting excited at just the thought of getting to see her pregnant again, and my towel tense. She gave me a knowing smile. Seeing it makes me want to climb into the shower with her and make her scream my name. I would love for her to hurry along with her shower, I need her so badly. As soon as she exits the shower, I hand her a towel for her hair. She bent over to squeeze her hair out and I grabbed a second towel to dry her off the second she straightens up. Brandon knows my usual method of operation and was standing in the doorway to the bathroom to watch me dry her off. It is not really SL, but it is a little sensual. I enjoy doing it, and she enjoys me doing it. Brandon thinks that it is cute that I still love to do things like this for her. He is glad that if she did get a second mate, it was me. Despite our rough start, he is fine with us all now. His opinion of me changed after Jackson arrived. When he saw that I really did love Jackson as if he were my own, he gradually came around to trusting me a little. Through the years, I have shown him my loyalty, and he has full and complete trust in me. Raven is dry now, but I still wanted to keep touching her, just not with the towel between us anymore. We shut and lock the door behind us. We don't take chances on the children getting up for a glass of water, and accidentally seeing us. I got her hair half dried with the blow dryer, and Brandon watched me do it. He always gets amused at my wanting to physically care for Raven. Not just with or romance, but with little loving acts. I have mastered painting her nails, blow-drying her hair, and brushing it out for her when it is dry. I even learned how to do a great massage. A skill that turned out so good that Brandon wanted to learn it too after he heard the sounds that Raven made when I first tried out my new skills on her. Raven just heads into the room without her robe, as she knew she was not going to have it on for very long. Brandon had already turned and gone into our room the second she stood up from the chair. It is showtime, and we really only get 2 nights a week with her. It just wasn't enough for us. Not like it was before the kids when we were insatiable. We try to have special times together with just the 3 of us. We celebrate her birthday, my birthday, and Brandon's. We also celebrated our anniversary, which was a special day for all of us. It was the anniversary of the first time that we were together the first time. We marked her at separate times, so that was 2 anniversaries, and we couldn't stand to be away from the kids for too long. So since we worry about the kids, they go to Cole's, as he can protect them the best, when they are not here. He isn't very far away, and these little breaks help us keep our relationship very tight. As we are both her true mates, the goddess also keeps us close with our bond. We send Jackson and Angie with them, and they do all kinds of stuff together. The kids each get to pick something fun to do, and on the girl day the men take the boys to go to a go-kart track for all ages, and they get to play while the girls get pampered. They all love it. My parents get to go along too, and it is absolutely the best time for all of them. It almost takes all 6 of the grandparents to get this done. I was right behind Raven as we walked toward the end of the bed, and I see that Brandon has learned from me throughout the years. I see a little snack tray on a rolling cart with fruits, cheeses, nuts, and crackers on it, and 2 bottles of champagne. Nice move, Brandon, I approve. Raven is not pregnant right now, and I am glad that Brandon thought to make the night even more special for us all. I want to make sure that Raven knew it was him, as that is usually one of my moves, but I wanted her to know that he was just as excited about our night together as I was. Great job, Brandon. I forgot to make a request for this. The tray looks great, this is perfect, I told him, and he nodded at me in thanks. I see Raven's eyes get big in her surprise and she walks over to give him a kiss of thanks. She then comes to me to give me a kiss, too. What was that for? I asked in surprise. I thought that this was all you, as this looks like what you normally do. I am so glad Brandon thought to do it on his own. It makes it even more special to me. I know that you did the candles. You always do thoughtful things like that. You know this is my favorite scent, and the room is filled with it, so I knew you lit them at least 10 minutes ago. I am glad that Brandon is showing how thoughtful he can be too, Raven said, and then went to go grab a glass of champagne. I can see how happy she was that we both thought to make this night as nice as we could. I would do anything for you, Raven. I know that you already know it, but I like to remind you of it sometimes too, Brandon told her. Although he didn't always say it, it is something she needed to hear. I like to think that I learn things from Brandon, usually about the pack, and running things. But I see him watching me occasionally as I Google for things to do for Raven. We kind of tag team on her. When I paint her toes, he rubs her shoulders. When I paint her fingers, he rubs her feet. I can always tell that she enjoys us both. She appreciates us both. She clearly loves us both, very much. I would do anything to get that special smile from her, and Brandon would too. Brandon picks up a strawberry from the tray and holds it to Raven's lips. I have a very good feeling about tonight's activities. Chapter 89 Brandon's POV. I was surprised that Justin mentioned to Raven that it was my idea for the food and drinks. To me, it doesn't matter who came up with the idea, as long as Raven is happy. That is my only concern. I knew Justin was thinking about this being a good night for us too, as it is rare for all of the children to go to bed so easily. I was happy about it, as sometimes things happen, and it cuts into our together time. I have been looking forward to this for a while. I was happy to make the order in MindLink for us, while Justin was in the shower. It pleased me that he did it though, as Raven would have just assumed that it was all him if he hadn't, and I was going to let her No need to cause an argument when we all wanted this to be a special night for us all. I was excited too and had worked out my earlier problem in the shower, so I wouldn't look like a schoolboy who finally got his hands on his first girl. I wanted to last, and I guess that is a matter of pride too. I am 4 years older than Justin, and a little over 5 than Raven. I am the oldest of the 3 of us and the most serious of our group. I am the alpha here, and that comes with extra pressure on me. I don't have time to think about things to do or time to Google ways to seduce my mate. That is where Justin really comes in handy. He does a great job of doing just that. He also tells me how to do things to make her happy, like ordering her favorite flowers. I didn't know what they were, and he told me. I have a list in my office of 5 things to do that were special for Raven. She does love them, and getting them on random dates, just because I was thinking of her, means the world to her. I am usually thinking of her, and the children, all the time. When we did the expansion, I had my office increased and made the area near my desk become a glass wall. It is bulletproof glass, as I am not going to just make it easy for someone to take me, or my unit out. I also have a way to block the windows with metal sheets, in case of an attack. I enjoy being able to look out and see my mate, and children on the playground. It makes it easier for me to make the judgment calls at our businesses, as I am doing it all for them. All the work I do is to make money to get improvements done in our pack. I want to make our pack strong, and safe, for all of our pack members. Because at the end of the day, we are all pack members here at Blackadder, and we all wanted our families to be safe. Her KSS caught me by surprise, but it was a welcome surprise. She also KSSC'd him for the candles being lit. She loves and appreciates us very much, and I do not know what I would do without her. I know Justin feels the same way, and knowing that he would die protecting her, allows me to be able to focus on running this pack. He is invaluable to me, just for that fact alone. It made the whole situation much easier for all of us. I couldn't resist grabbing a strawberry from the tray. She loves them, and it looks delicious. I watched her mouth as she bites into it. Seeing the little bit of juice from the strawberry run down to her chin, and that sight gets me instantly hard. I feel her hand on my towel as she sees the evidence before her and she gives a little tug to let it drop to the floor. I leaned down to LCK the juice from her chin as I held her hair in my hand to keep her from moving. I let go of her hair and stood still, as it feels good as she gives a few tugs on me and has to use both of her hands to do it. Just having her hands on me, and I thank the goddess every day for Raven. Raven gives me a smile and reaches up to pull my head back down to her to give me a thorough kiss. Just the feel of her chest pressed into me is taking all my thoughts away. I cannot think clearly with my love in my arms. I want to bury myself in her, but I remind myself to be patient. We have a few hours tonight, and I know that we both plan to make the most of them. Since we have been together for so long now, we know where we are going with this, and Justin walked up to us. He grabs his drink off the cart and takes a sip as he watches her give me a kiss. I watch as his eyes travel over Raven as she rises up again to give me another kiss. I already know that it is an excellent view he has and one that I will soon be having myself. She likes to give us equal time, and that is very smart. As possessive men, it would be very hard to be the one who was left out or get less affection. I know it would break my heart if it was done to me, and it would break Justin's if it was done to him. Raven turns and presses herself into Justin to give him his kiss, and he knew that she was coming to him, as he had already set his drink down. We keep our communication open, as you have to in this type of situation. She is just as excited about this as we are, and seeing her rise up again to give him another KSS allowed me to let my eyes travel on her too. We trade up other things as well, to make it fair for us both. It is my turn to go down on her tonight, and I smirk as I plan on making her scream out loudly tonight. Justin can just do whatever he wants while he waits, and I already knew what he was going to do, as it was the same thing he always does. Being the one to go down, is the first one to have S*X with her too, so I am loving my wonderful opportunity tonight. So many things to be thankful for, but I will take my time in this, and get her ready for us. Raven took another drink from her glass and then headed for the bed. We were both trailing after her, watching her cat-like grace as she walks over to the bed, and then crawls across the bed. I crawled between her legs and gave a growl of approval as she opened them up for me to get closer to her. She was already wee. In anticipation of this, I could smell her arousal all around the room. I got to work quickly, and after 5 years, I knew how to pleasure from her. I used my mouth and fingers to drive her up to the edge, and then let her come down. Raven's legs are shaking and I knew that she would not be able to stand or get on her knees right now, so I am going to make this easier for her. I lay down on the bed and I knew when Justin gets it because he stood up and moves to the end of the bed to help her. Raven sees what is going on and comes to me to straddle me backward into the reverse cowgirl with her holding onto my knees to balance herself. This position is great for a number of reasons. She will be able to control everything from this angle, and she can also take care of Justin at the same time. No one gets left out, we have figured this out for all of us to be taken care of at the same time. Raven gets comfortable as she gets completely settled down, but this will be slower than when she gets to ride us. You could get hurt if someone gets too enthusiastic in this, as the angle is not made for really vigorous motions. It was made for ultimate G-spot penetration and her pleasure. It allows Raven to set her own pace and allows her to take me even deeper into her this way. We will change up as Justin will want his turn later too. But for now, Justin will get a BB from Raven, while he waits for his turn. I like this position as Raven seems to be able to go longer in this position, and we both enjoy it. Justin steps up and Raven takes him into her mouth. I close my eyes and just feel my mate as she rides me slowly at the start, building up to a faster pace. I can tell that she is getting closer, and I lean up a little bit to use my hand to start toying with her CLT. I can hear her loud M0AN coming from her and Justin grabs her and starts to push into her more as he is really excited, and knows that she will be finishing soon. Raven starts rubbing Justin's balls as they tighten up, as he is close too. I am not, just yet, but Justin pulls back gently and has Raven straighten up for him to lean down and kiss her. He uses both hands to gently pull and tug on her. She uses her hands to keep jerking him off, and they are both close. I can hear exactly when Justin stops kissing her, as she is crying out her release. He steps away to go get a wee rag to clean her up with, and I started playing with her again. She is still coming down and I want to let it play out again. The second time she comes even harder, and I slam her down onto me holding her waist. I see *M as well with a loud growl that sounds around the room. I know she liked it, I could feel her little shudder. I hate her rising off of me, but I am glad to know that I will get another shot with her tonight. Justin is already handing the warm rag to Raven to clean up with. He then goes to pull the tray closer to the bed for us. He just can't stop himself from thinking of all of us, and he brings the grapes to Raven and then proceeds to start feeding them to her. It is only fair, I fed her a strawberry earlier, and my DK twitches at the thought of it. I grabbed my drink and take a sip, before filling all 3 of our empty glasses again and handing them out. We used to get robes on, but gradually we got used to it. Plus, being werewolves, nudity is a big part of our lives. It is natural for us, but usually, if it is just me and Justin, we both will both wear our towels, or robes, until Raven comes into the room. We just aren't interested in each other like that. Justin will always be safe with me, and vice versa. Justin puts his empty glass back on the tray, and he goes to his nightstand to grab something before going and lying down on the bed. He is going to pick the same position as I did. I don't know if he deliberately does it like that to prevent conflict. Does he choose the same thing as I did because he saw it, and wanted to try it, or if there is a little friendly competition going on? Either way, being with our mate is wonderful, and something that we both look forward to. Sometimes I think it is a friendly competition, and sometimes I really think that he just wants to get her to M0AN louder, or C*M harder. Regardless, Raven is the one who ends up winning, so I cannot fault him for it. There have been things I have copied from him too, like Raven sitting on my face. That was something that I learned from him, and she loves it. So it is a win for all of us. I suspect he got a little something for her to use on herself, and maybe I will help her out with it. Raven used some lube on both herself and Justin, and slid right down on him, with a sigh. She got back into a comfortable position and then leaned forward to take me into her mouth. Her M0AN is making vibrations on my CK, and I have to say I liked it. I stepped even closer to her and I like how she uses her hand to stroke my scrotum, and the area between them and my anus, as it is highly sensitive. Now I remember why Justin was ready to go so much quicker than I was. Raven doesn't play fair in this, and she is planning on making me C*M quickly. I feel her hands slide around me and pull me closer to her with her hands, as she is continuing to press down hard on Justin. He is really trying to hold out, but she is working him as well as she is working me. I feel her grabbing my A.SS and holding me still as she stops moving for a second on Justin, and pulls me in even further into her mouth. I cannot stop the M0AN of pleasure that escapes, and it reminds me that she did the same thing when she was riding me as well. I had reached forward to play with her CL.T, and he chose to pull out a vibrator for her. I heard it come on a moment. Her M0AN caused me to lose control for a second, and I grabbed her hair and thrust my DK even further into her mouth. Raven is making a lot of M0AN sounds, and I watch as her keep moving faster and faster on Justin. I am about to see *M when Raven sits up and moves down on Justin to the hilt. I see his eyes roll back in pleasure at her actions. She screams out her release into the room, and that is all it takes for me to see M all over her chest, as she continues to pull on my CK with both hands. She goes to get off of Justin, but I stop her to give her a heated KSS with my hand possessively holding her hair to keep her face in place. I never thought that I would love someone as much as I love her, but here we are. I gently lift her up off of Justin, and head to the shower to get us clean with her snuggled in my arms. To keep it fair, she stays in there the whole time, and we trade out. I didn't get my time with them tonight. I hate I missed my chance, but I was focused on watching her head bobbing on me, and feeling how great it felt to be in her mouth. By the time I focused, it was a done deal. Maybe we can have another snack and have a third try at this as we are only an hour into it tonight. I got out of the shower and Justin slips into it. I dried off, went into the room, and opened the second bottle. Even if we have another drink and then just rest, this will have been a wonderful night, and I am sure that all the parents of the children that did the course tonight are probably taking advantage of the benefits of the course. I swear we should take them back out to do it again in 2 days. Maybe we can make this a permanent thing, I smiled thinking about it. Justin and Raven come back into the bedroom. Raven is in her robe, and Justin and I both have towels on. Raven being in her robe is a good sign. She didn't go and put her PJs on, so this may be a nod at a third try for tonight, but I won't pressure her for it. I will see what happens. We all have some snacks and finished off both bottles, and I grabbed another strawberry for her to eat again. I can see why Justin likes feeding her so much. There is something so sexy about her mouth opening to take what I am offering her. I am getting hard again, but I try to control myself, and not just grab her and throw her down on the bed to have another go round. I just wish that we had more time together during the week. But I am absolutely thankful for the time we had together tonight. I won't push it, we have gotten up in the middle of the night before to finish it, but well all know that it usually doesn't work out once the kids are up in the morning. I will see about making plans for us to try again, in 2 nights. Maybe get with Justin and make plans for another nice night. See if we can start having some sleepovers, here for Jax with either Blaine or Warwick, and letting the rest of the kids go and spend the night at Bloodwalker. I know the girls would love it. You would think they personally hung the moon as much as they love getting to see them. I would just like some bonus time with Raven. Even if it is just relaxing in our room. I am already grateful that at least once a month we take turns getting to go out in our wolf form, aside from the regular training. That night the other 2 sets of parents have all of the children. We do this as a group. It consisted of me, Raven, and Justin, Stella and Truett, as well as Lainey and crew. This kind of babysitting exchange has ended up working out very well for us. The third set of parents goes to let their wolves out to keep the bond tight on that side as well. It is a good thing to do, as, during the day, you might have unexpected visitors come up to you in the middle of mating. So we usually do it at night, as we know the patrol schedules, and where we can go to get some alone time in. We are lucky as we take turns there too, and with us, the extra male will stand as a lookout so no one approaches us in the middle of mating. It allows our wolf's bonds to grow and prosper just as well as our human sides do. Axe loves Emerald, and so does Lauren. After we get some personal time, we get to go run together and play. Things we normally don't get to do. Truett and crew are both in charge when it is our night to go out. We all take about 3 hours, while the others watch the children. The good news is that usually every 3 months you will get a month where you get 2 turns, instead of 1, and we all plan this out in advance. We know exactly what weeks are ours, and we can pick any day of that week to work around any scheduling conflicts. Sometimes you just need a break, sometimes you just need to be with the one you love, and have fun. It has been very beneficial for all of us, ever since Justin saw it on one of his Google marathons 2 years ago. It has been one of his very best ideas, according to Truett and crew. Their mates agreed with them, and it lets the kids get extra time to play and spend time with each other. It was beneficial all the way around. We all agree that it has really helped us all to be able to get closer to our mates in the meantime. It was something that was truly needed, as we are so protective of Raven and Emerald. Instead of just one of us going out with Raven one night, and the other the next night, we felt it was best for her protection and safety, for one of us to stand guard nearby. Reagan is still out there somewhere, and she will not hesitate to try to take Raven out. I know it, I can feel it. Justin feels it too, so we work together to protect her. We will do anything to protect her, and make sure that both she and our children are safe. She is the root of all that we do. The extra training that Justin and I do helps us to stay at the top of our game. Justin goes into the human world to train to learn so many forms of fighting. We also have guest trainers come in to teach the pack the moves when he can't train it. Everything that we do is for our mate, our children, and the pack's protection. I refuse to allow anyone to come in here and destroy my family, or my pack. Chapter 90 Alpha Cole's POV. I cannot even wrap my head around this. 5 years, 5 long years, and we still can't find them. Goddess, I swear if I had an inkling Graham could have managed to escape, I would have gone to Silver Blade and killed him and Reagan myself. We would not have made the video until it was a done deal. I wish to the goddess that they were not allowed to escape with no punishment. That makes me furious every time I think of it. I just wanted to protect my daughter, and clear her name from being associated with that disgusting video. Reagan had a pretty smart plan but didn't realize that she was going to be found out like that. The video shows the only physical difference between them, other than their hair and eye color, was Reagan's mole, and I thank the goddess for that. I would have hated everyone thinking it was Raven. It was embarrassing for it to even be alleged to be her. I have increased the amount of money that will be awarded each year on the anniversary of their running away. This year, it is a total of $600,000 for anyone who can let us know where they are. That first year, I finally got a call on the tip line that I set up expressly to report them. It is set up to record, even if someone is not in the office to take the call. I had a feeling that we would have found them then, but while the caller was still talking, the call suddenly ended. We called the number back over and over again, with no answer. I am sure if they hadn't been stopped, we would have more information than it originating from the state of California. We are here, too, and I know that they would want the money first, or at least a deal set before they gave me my information. My frustration over this knows no bounds over this mess. I wish that I could end this whole thing today. I am starting to think that Brandon and Justin are right. They are much closer than we think, and they are getting protection from someone. Graham is a piece of crap, and I just can't get over the fact that he is still being helped. He can only be paying them to protect him because I have known him since we were children. No one is willing to hang out with him for long. He will be having to pay to keep from being outed. I will be sure to mention that to the council. We needed to start watching out for packs who were broke, and now suddenly have money to make repairs or improvements. A pack that was suddenly able to have expanded its pack lands, without a clear reason for that kind of cash flow. We will have to go from the day they disappeared until now, to check that out. There should be no way for them to be flying under the radar like this. Someone, somewhere, has to know exactly where they are hiding. We will just keep increasing the money in the offer until someone is willing to tell us their location and give them up. Both Blackadder and I each add $20,000 to the reward each year. The council adds to it as well, but no one has come forward yet to help us. I hear voices coming and I watch as Carter, Simone, and Olivia enter the dining room to eat breakfast with me. I had already completed my training for today, but I get one each day. Carter took over the pack when he turned 20 years old. I wanted to train him to fully know all the ins and outs of running the pack. It also allowed him and Simone some travel time together. You need it, as being the alpha and Luna of a pack is hard. You don't get a lot of breaks when you are running the pack. It is usually just for training or business that you get to leave. It can be very difficult to find your balance, and that is why I wanted Carter to be prepared for what was ahead of him. Luckily, I am still young, and I remember what it was like back then. I run the pack when he and Simone want some time away or need a break. The family vacation is all of us together, and Joshua runs the pack, with Timothy helping him get it done. Carter and Simone appreciate it, and Olivia and I enjoy the bonus time with our grandchildren. Carter's oldest pup, Lucas, ran up to me first, followed closely by Giovanni. They both give me a big hug and head off to go grab their breakfast. Olivia is right behind them to help them get their food after she gives me a kiss on the cheek. Lucas will be 5 years old very soon, in less than 2 months. He looks just like his father with his black hair, and our green eyes, which are a Walker trademark. Giovanni just turned 4 years old, and he is determined to do everything that his big brother does. He is very competitive with Lucas and always tries to emulate him. Giovanni has black hair too, and his mother's blue eyes. Except for the eye color, he looks just like Lucas and Carter. Both boys are handsome little guys, and I am not saying it because I am partial to them. Carter walks up with Amelia holding his hand. She is 3.5 years old and is our little princess. As the first girl here at Bloodwalker, she got spoiled, very spoiled. She is a doll, and is very resistant to training, even though we all know that she needs to. She looks just like her beautiful mother, with her brown hair and blue eyes. That is probably why Carter is so wrapped around her little finger. Simone trains and she is working on getting Amelia to train, but Amelia is really digging her feet in resistance. We will have to figure something out to get her willing to do it. It is not a choice for us, it is a necessity, as I do not want any of my family members to be harmed in what is to come. Simone is carrying the youngest member of their family, Hannah. I already know that she will be wanting me the second she sees me, and I reached out to take her from her mother. Hannah is 3 months from being 3 years old, she has her mom's brown hair and her dad's green eyes. She looks just like Simone in the face, just like her older sister. Hannah loves being held, and as the baby of her family, they do get babied as the youngest child. Simone would love another baby, but they are hesitant about trying for a 5th. They already have 4, and that is a good-sized family. I see her looking at Austin's youngest baby sometimes, and I can see how wistful she is about it. She does want another baby, but both Olivia and I have told her to see what the goddess does for them. If they are supposed to have another baby, the goddess will take care of it for them. I believe in the goddess, and I am absolutely sure that if they are supposed to have another baby, they will. She is the reason that I got my daughter back, only the goddess could have sent Raven to me like that. Carter and Simone go to make their plates and leave Hannah and Amelia with me. I came in here to get my coffee after my training while waiting for them to come down for breakfast. Carter was already at work at 5 a.m. when I went to train. The rest of them got to sleep in. Olivia came back with the boys, and a plate for me as well. I was going to go make it myself, but she got me all my favorites. She put a drink down to save her seat next to me and went back to grab herself something. Dad, I think that we need to take a little trip to Blackadder today. Brandon and Justin sent me some pictures of their new children's training area, and I would like to see Lucas and Giovanni run it themselves. It looked like it was pretty fun, and I think we need to recreate it here, for our pack. Justin and Brandon both said that it has a lot of hidden benefits for the kids, Carter told me. He showed me his phone after he sat down, and I was impressed with what all they had come up with. They managed to make training fun, and I agree, we should make a visit today to see it. I would love to have one here as well. Our pack is thriving these days, and Carter was doing a good job as the alpha. I was impressed that he took what Timothy and I told him to heart. Joshua did too. They were spoiled jerks before, and it was a good thing that they changed before they met their mates. I don't think Simone or Amy would have been happy with either of them before they really took a hard look at themselves. I will call Raven and see if we can come by today for lunch, I told him, and I know that Olivia is excited about getting to see the grand pups at Blackadder too. I will let Joshua know that he will be in charge this afternoon, Carter replied back. I am so excited about getting to see them. I will let Austin know, so he can see if Eva and the kids want to go too, Olivia said, and then started a mind link. Already here, Mom, Austin announced as he and Eva entered the dining room a few seconds later, with his youngest child nestled in his arms. Eva smiled at us in greeting and headed over to our table. I knew that she was going to have some of the little ones stay with us, as she made their plates. Olivia welcomed them and gave them a kiss on their heads, as they climbed onto the bench seat next to her. She is blissfully happy right now. She always is when she has her grandchildren around her. I will be right back, grabbing a plate real quick as he hands the baby to Olivia, who was all too happy to take her. Austin walks away with Eva, and his oldest child, Noah. Olivia watched proudly as Austin made his son a plate, and brought him back to the table. Eva made 2 smaller plates for their other children. The baby will eat off Eva's plate. Austin got Noah up in his chair, and then he and Eva went back together to grab their plates. When they got back, I was telling the kids at the table about the obstacle course that they had set up at Blackadder. I would like to do something like that here too, Dad. If it works out well for them, I would be glad to implement the same thing here. We need the children to be strong, and it sounds like they put a lot of thought into the course there, Carter was saying as Austin and Eva sat down. We all knew what he was leaving unsaid. The boys had really embraced the training, but both of his girls resisted it. We all knew that they were not safe and that they needed to train for their own protection. It didn't matter if they were involved in the battle or if they helped to get people to safety, they needed to know how to fight themselves. I happen to agree with that. As the children of alpha parents, they are strong, and in high demand for people with bad ideas. They will always be at risk, as they could be kidnapped for ransom, or taken to produce strong pups. I will never allow something like that to happen to them. But no matter what kind of training we suggested, Amelia was resistant. Hannah seemed interested in training, but she wasn't 3 yet. All we let her do was run for her training so far. Amelia wasn't even wanting to do that. They even have an adult course, that is similar to it, I told the table. What course? What are we talking about? Austin asked us. They have built an obstacle course at Blackadder, to help strengthen the kids in the pack. Both Carter and I think that it is a great idea and one we should implement here as well. It would benefit all the children in the pack. From what I heard, it is very close to the playground, so parents can watch their little ones, and keep an eye on their bigger kids who are running the course, I told him, and he seemed excited to see it too. That was what I was going to ask you, Austin. If you, Eva, and the kids wanted to go with us today. Olivia said. Austin looked at Eva for her answer, and she nodded and said, that would be fun, plus we can visit while we are there. It is settled then, I said, and called to speak to Raven about it. She was happy to have us coming to visit today and gushed about how much their kids loved the course. I already know that Justin and Brandon will take the time to help walk us through it. I saw Randolph and Carrie, Justin's parents, come into the dining room and I asked them if they wanted to come as well. They usually go to Blackadder when we do, to see their grand pups too. Randolph is still the Delta here, Carter has found no one better qualified to handle it, and Randolph still manages to show his strength in the position. I guess it is his Sigma blood helping him. He is almost 46 now and shows no sign of slowing down at all. The job is his until he passes it on. They have an age limit for the course, but I think that since Noah is bigger than a normal 3-year-old, they might make an exception for him. We will have to see what he thinks of it when we get there. We may let him do it, and just skip the parts that are too hard for him to tackle when we get there. We all know that Lucas and Giovanni will be all over that course when we get there. Austin met Eva at a mating ball when he was almost 20 years old, she is about 6 months younger than him. They immediately marked and mated each other, and they now have 4 pups. Noah is the oldest, at almost 3.5. He has his mother's blonde hair and Austin's green eyes. Their second child is Viviana, and we call her Vivi. She is her mother made over, with her blonde hair and hazel eyes. She is 4 months from being 3 herself. Oliver had just turned 2 a few months ago, and he has black hair and green eyes, just like his father. Their baby is Corinne, and she is a little doll, and she is 1.5 years old. With her mom's blonde hair and her father's green eyes, she looks just like her brother Noah. She is her mother's twin with her facial features, just like her older sister, Vivi. They have a beautiful, happy family, and I am so glad that Austin found such a great mate. They are perfect for each other. They have both been blessed, and so have Olivia and me. I linked Joshua and told him what we were doing today. He said that he would like to go and check the course out too. I am going to let Gamma Jared run things for the day, so Joshua's children can try it too. We won't be too far away and Charlie can help him out here in case of any problems pop up. That way he can see Stella and the kids too. I know that Timothy and Amanda would be glad to come with us, and see their grand pups running whatever kind of circuit they came up with. I think that it would be great to be able to see them and go there as a group, Carter said to us. He is right, that is a good idea. It is usually a small group that goes at one time as it is less than 10 of us. We mostly travel with Austin's family or Carter's family when we go there. Joshua's family travels with Timothy and Amanda. Justin's family goes there when they can, to see the pups, and they usually go for lunch 2 to 3 times a month. I am excited to see Raven, I always am, but my grand pups are the light of my life. I thought I loved my children, but I really enjoy getting to watch them grow up. I especially get happy by seeing her girls. They make me realize that although I missed getting to see my Raven when she was a baby and little girl, I can still imagine what she would have looked like by watching them as they grow up. I am so proud of her, and her strength. I cannot imagine the horrible life she had growing up, having no one at all that she could depend on to help her, to comfort her, to take care of her. She was less than a slave to them there, as Graham and Cassandra allowed her to be abused constantly, turning a blind eye to a problem that they caused themselves. She never deserved it, any of it. I swear if it is the last thing that I do, I will make them both pay dearly for all that they allowed to be done to Raven. Chapter 91 Graham's POV. Cassandra and I get into our car with gifts for Reagan, to head over for a visit at Blood Tracker. We have to go there to see her, even though it has been 5 long years since she was banished from Black Moon. I know she messed up. I know she did wrong. It still kills me to see her torn down from her position of being an alpha's daughter, to where she is now. It is just disgusting to see what she has been forced to become. I thought with all the money I was throwing at Blake that she would not get such a harsh sentence. Blake and Cheryl need to get over it and let Reagan come back to Black Moon and live with us in our home. I am scared to even ask though, as they get mad whenever I even try to bring it up with either of them. Cassandra and I wonder every day if the choice of paying Blake to let her live was the right one for her. She is not the beautiful, vivacious girl she once was anymore. I blame Cheryl for that in my head, but in my heart I know it was all Reagan's doing. I just cannot accept what has happened to her in 5 short years from when we escaped from Silver Blade. Reagan has brought a lot of it on herself, with each bad decision that she made. Instead of stopping, as I told her, she continued doubling down and making worse and worse plans to carry out. If I knew then, what I know now, I wouldn't have said a word to her if she had been successful in killing Raven. It would have been the best case scenario at the time. We wouldn't be in the bind we are now. Reagan and Justin would be running Silver Blade, and they would have been truly happy because Justin would have never found out that Raven was his mate. All of this would have been avoided. I wouldn't have had to shell out well over $1 million of my hard-earned money to buy our safety. We would still be living a wonderful life, with our respect fully intact at Silver Blade. Raven being allowed to live is what got us to this point. I made a mistake. I knew she was Cole's daughter, and I should have delivered her immediately to him. He told us to. He knew he got Cassandra pregnant, and I made a horrible mistake. It was just my stupid pride that kept me from doing it, wanting to hurt Raven for her very existence. I also wanted to keep that smug from getting his daughter. It was the worst mistake of my life. Because in keeping Raven at Silver Blade, my own flesh and blood was taken away from me. Made to be the lowest rank you can get, as breeders are valued less than even omegas are. They should be valued. They give strong pups, especially in Reagan's case. Her pups are all very strong due to their fathers all being ranked wolves. But things had been bad for her since the day she left Blood Moon. We get to talk to her occasionally, and she told her mom what happened the moment she arrived at Blood Tracker. My baby girl was assaulted in the worst way, and both Cassandra and I cried over it, many times. That was the day that I decided to get even with Cole, and Brandon. If the goddess lets me, I will get back at Blake and Cheryl too. Punishment has to be assigned and given. Raven is at the very head of the list, with Justin right next to her. If he could have just been loyal to Reagan, we could have avoided this mess. He just couldn't let Raven go. He was angry at Reagan for drugging him into force marking her. That was a bad idea on my part. I messed that up. It started a ball rolling, that I could not stop. It has blown up in my face since then, and all I can do is try to get Blake to help me out with the plan I have. I am willing to spend whatever is needed to make it happen. No matter the cost, I will pay for it, because I have to get it done. Too much has happened to my baby girl, and I cannot idly stand by and see her mentally continue to slide into the abyss. She has so few positives in her life now. She still loves us, she cares for her pups, and for Clive. That is it. She may have a few feelings for Aaron left, but not much lately, especially not after he found his mate. My businesses are doing very well. I no longer have to support the pack with the funds, so all the profit goes straight to me and my family. I believe that Blake will help me because I plan on reminding him that Brandon is his enemy. Cheryl spent years trying to get Brandon to notice her, and accept her as his mate. He just didn't want her. Blake loves her, even with her being his chosen mate. He is jealous and possessive of her. I am quite smart about it. I am playing the long game with them. I have come to him and mentioned a few things so far. Just a few comments here and there, to lay the groundwork for my plan. I am moving very slowly with it too. Very slow, like one little seed planted to produce some conflict between them every 9 months. I cannot make this obvious. Blake is smarter than I gave him credit for. I really thought that I could come in here and run the place behind the scenes. He looked like a big moron, and I really thought that I could get it taken care of, with him none the wiser at what I was planning to do. Little did I know that he was making some plans too, and not for my benefit. I knew after what Reagan did, it would be slow going to get him where I wanted him, but I also knew that he would get there eventually. I have been planting seeds by saying how he is so much better than Brandon. That he is a way better alpha. How he is stronger than Brandon and clearly trains more than him. How I cannot believe that she was willing to reject her true mate, all in an effort to try to get Brandon as a second chance mate. How she was so focused on working with Reagan to get Brandon drugged. How they both stuck their necks out and were so willing to mate and mark her, that they ended up being locked in the cells at Bloodwalker. How Cheryl found her second chance mate at Bloodwalker, and how weird it was that she got rejected because of how obsessed she was with Brandon. He was very interested to be told that she didn't even sense her second chance mate in the cells because she was still trying to figure out a way to try to get Brandon away from Raven. He was not pleased with hearing any of these comments. It is affecting his trust in Cheryl. He knew she had a big thing for Brandon, but she downplayed it. He is a jealous and possessive man, and it was in her best interest to do just that. I fought Blake so hard about putting her to death, that is why it cost me so much money. It would have been quick and almost painless what he had planned to do. I know that now, but as much as she deserved it, I didn't want my baby girl killed. I told her not to mess with Blake, she knew better than to do it, and yet she still took the shot. That was on her, it was a huge mistake on her part, but I have cleaned up all of her messes. I couldn't just let her die. She learned a lot of what she has done from me. Who would have known that she was not as good as me when she made her plans? She gets a good idea but then has no follow-through to make sure it is successful. I have told her I know 100 times, to look at it from each angle, and see where a problem is, or could occur. Also, the most important thing to consider was what problem could arise from the person you are setting up. Are they powerful enough to get you back? Do you have the time to keep an eye on them to keep them from getting you back? That was something that you needed to pay attention to as well. Not to allow your enemy an opportunity to hurt you back. I taught her to strike hard, and she got that part of it. She just never got the importance of covering her own A*S from being destroyed in the process. It was a life lesson, and she should have gotten it, but unfortunately for her, protecting herself was never high up on her list of priorities. She could come up with quite a few good plans, especially to get people back for crossing her, or me. She just couldn't keep her focus on watching out for the potential fallout from what she had planned. She never looked that far ahead. I liked to challenge myself with it. I would write it down, leave it in my safe, and periodically make changes to it, tweaking it, over and over again. I never just rushed in. The quote about revenge is best served cold, is totally correct. You don't want your payback to come right after an incident. It is best to come a few years later, that way they don't immediately think of you when they are trying to figure out who they need to punish for it. They will always think it was the last person they were into it with and think it was them. That helps play in my favor too, they will not suspect it is me until it is obvious, and I don't do obvious. We have brought a lot with us to come and visit her. We only come once a month, as we cannot bear to see her more than that. Our hearts break seeing what has been done to her, and no one ever told us who did it. We had her a home built on blood tracker land, and Clive lives there with her, and their children. Clive cares for her, I believe that he does love her, and he is probably the only reason that she is still even holding on to any of her sanity now. Reagan's home is almost as nice as ours is, it just doesn't have a master bathroom for each bedroom. Since we thought a lot of children would result between her and Clive, we made sure that she had room for at least 5 children for them together. We brought a gift for each of the pups, as we consider them to be our grandchildren. The children of the beta live with him, and the alpha's pups are all in the pack house with him. They have done nothing but use her over and over again, and I know that Cassandra feels the same guilt that I do. I can only pray that one day, Reagan will be released from the blood tracker pack, and we can be reunited. I am okay with Clive, and their pups coming too. I would leave the safety of our pack to be able to achieve that, but I already know that Aaron will not allow her to leave his pack. He cares for her, in an unusual way. He does value her, but not as much as he used to. After finding his mate during alpha training in another state a year ago. When he brought her here, she immediately hated Reagan for bearing children for Aaron. Despite knowing that it was not Reagan's wish, or desire to do that. She was made to be a breeder, against her wishes. It was not like she had much of a choice in the matter. It was on Cassandra and me. We encouraged her to live, despite what the alternative was, as none of us knew what the alternative was going to be until it rolled out of Blake's mouth in the office. In my conceit and pride, I believed that I could get it overturned, or changed soon after. I had no idea that no matter what I tried to do, Blake and Erin both refused to change her sentence. Blake and Cheryl still hated Reagan with a passion to this day. Even bringing it up at dinner one night last week, they both reacted to my question very badly. Even going as far as to startle their children with their vehement argument over Reagan. They will never allow her to escape her punishment. I can tell that Cheryl was probably hoping that Reagan would have been killed by now, for some reason. I had heard about the incident. Reagan couldn't keep from telling us, as it was clear that she had been attacked. We saw it on our first visit to see her at the 3-month mark after she was banished from Black Moon. I am quite sure that both Blake and Cheryl knew about it, but they never once mentioned it. I get angry even thinking about it, but it was over and done now. I am not surprised at the other girls being so jealous of her, but I was surprised at what had happened to her. Cheryl and Blake have had 3 children so far. They both doted on them, and they are proud of all of them. Cheryl is pregnant with another child now, and they both hope that this child will be a girl. Forrest is Blake and Cheryl's oldest child. He will be 5 years old very soon. He looks just like his dad and is very strong. He is already training, and his dad is just as strict with him about his training, as he is with his ranked wolves. He is so proud of Forrest, and what he has already learned to do, especially for his age. Forrest actively tries to do what his dad asks of him, and tries to make him proud each and every day. Their second child is Kevin, who just turned 4 years old a few months ago. He just started training, and he is not as strong as Forrest. I can see jealousy of Forrest radiating out of him every day. He is out here watching Blake praises Forrest all the time, but he never praises Kevin. It is already leading to resentment. This will not be a good thing when they are teenagers. They have a similar build, and I think that one day Kevin will try to challenge Forrest to become alpha. Even at a young age, he can tell that he is not as valued as his slightly older brother. I will be keeping my eye on him, as I know that this will one day come to an explosive ending. I can tell that Cheryl sees it, and tries to be a comfort to Kevin. The more she tries to make Blake be kind to Kevin, the more Blake digs in and supports Forrest. Their third child is named Robert, and he is 3 years old. He looks the most like Cheryl, and she coddles him a lot. Hopefully, if this child she is pregnant with is a girl, maybe she will allow Robert to grow up more. She won't let him train, or even roughhouse with the other pups. She clearly can't help herself, as she has wanted a baby girl for so long. We all thought they were through, but Cheryl begged Blake to try again and he caved. He wants a baby girl that looks like Cheryl. All of the ranked men have found their mates now, and they each have children. Garrett and his mate Elise have 4 children already. He found her and immediately claimed her. Their firstborn is named Tina, and she is 4.5. She is already training too and is being trained by her father. He wanted to personally train the oldest 3 of his children right now. Their second child was also a girl, her name is Sheila, and she will be 4 years old in about 3 months. The third child was a boy, his name is Simon, and he is 3 years old. Their youngest is 2.5, and his name is Joey. I have been watching Joey as he watches his older siblings train. He gets it, he sees what they are doing, and he listens to instructions. He is very smart, and he is picking it up, even without actively being trained. Both Simon and Joey will be a force to be reckoned with by the time they hit their teenage years. They are both smart and listen to the instruction being given to them. Brady met Abigail a few months after Garrett found his mate. Abigail is too nice for Brady, but you can't pick who your true mate will end up being. They have 3 children. Sarah is the oldest at almost 4 years old. Drew is 3.5, and their baby, David, is about to turn 3 years old. Brady is still the CO beta with Garrett, but as good as a fighter as Sarah already is, he is seriously considering letting her take his position from him. Garrett is not planning on the same thing. His son Simon has been chosen by Garrett to take over from him. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't actually Joey that takes it over in the long run, but we will see. Blake was not in favor of Sarah being allowed to become a CO beta. This was despite Brady being confident in her abilities, even at such a young age. They are a little behind in this pack, and still think that men are more important than women here. I can't get behind a lot of their antiquated ideas. But they are only going to mess their own pack up by their way of thinking. Mark the CO Gamma was the next to find his mate, about 3.5 years ago. Mark and his mate Jamie got very busy and already have 4 pups. Their oldest is named Dennis, and he is turning 3 years old this week. Their second child Wayne turned 2, about 3 months ago. Their third child is named Lenore and she is 1.5. Their baby will be 1 soon, in about 2 months, and they have a cute little family. Blake was glad that Dennis will be taking over Mark's spot, and he went out of his way to mention it to the rest of the ranked wolves. He cannot stop his digs at Brady, and both Brady and Abigail are pissed off about it. Blake is going to have to calm down, or he will end up arguing with Cheryl again over this. She is good friends with Abigail, and they both take it as a personal insult to women with how he is acting. Especially since Cheryl and Abigail are both very strong fighters. Travis was the last one of the ranked wolves to find his mate, and he found her a little over 2 years ago. But for almost 3 years all he did was train, and ask us how Reagan was. He liked her, and I believe that he would have made her his chosen mate if Blake hadn't banished her like he did. Travis was young and felt pressure from his peers over that. Knowing how much Blake, Mark, and Garrett all hated Reagan, he had no choice but to stand down from wanting to make her his chosen. Travis's mate was named Paige, and she was very pretty, not as pretty as Reagan was, but still pretty. They have had a total of 3 pups so far. Their first pup was Deborah, and she is a little over 2 years old. Their second pup was Ashley, and she is 1.5 years old. Their baby boy, Greg, is 1 year old. I would be willing to bet that they will be having at least 1 more pup in the next year or so. To keep me helpful and relevant to Blake, I built houses for each of the ranked wolves. I had them built near the pack house for them and their families to have a separate space for them to raise their pups. It can be given to the next beta and gamma for them to raise their families in. Blake appreciated it, and so did the ranked wolves, but their mates were the ones who appreciated it the most. I am keeping everything on the back burner. I will wait, and make my plans, as I cannot allow what happened to my baby to go by unpunished. I grabbed the steering wheel even tighter in my hands as we turn into the blood tracker territory. We get cleared to enter quickly, and as usual, I started to get angry, and I am trying to control it. I am going to think of a way to get back at Blake and Aaron for what happened to my baby girl. But it won't be anything that will happen anytime soon. I have all the time in the world to come up with something that will be the perfect plan. Something that will let me pull their rug out from under them, and ruin their lives, and possibly their mates' lives too. I just have to wait until after we take revenge for Raven, Brandon, Justin, and Cole. I pulled up to the house I had built for Reagan. It was the least I could do for her. She needed a safe space to be in. She couldn't be safe anymore in the pack house. I watch as she comes out to greet us and I have to hold in my growl of anger. One day. Yes, one day, everyone who was involved in her being hurt, will pay the ultimate price for it. No matter what I have to do to get it done. Chapter 92 Reagan's POV. I heard a car pull up and knew my parents had arrived, so I went out to greet them. Besides Clive, and my children, I get love from no one else except my parents. I can hear my dad's growl of displeasure when he sees me. It happens every time he comes here, he gets angry seeing the evidence of how I have been treated here at Blood Tracker. I was hoping that after this pregnancy, with my 9th baby this would be it, but it won't. Darren already knows that this baby is not his, we all believed that it is Clive's. I knew it wouldn't be my last for 2 reasons. Aaron will not let me go, and despite having found his mate almost a year ago, he still wants to hold me to the deal. I have begged, but he refuses, as he knows that if I were to leave, Clive would be leaving with me. Clive loves me and he knows that even after 5 years, people are still looking for me. Black Moon just got a visit from the council a month ago. Cheryl, her parents, and mine, had to be hidden in the underground bunker that they had built especially for these types of drops from the council. Thankfully, Blake had done what he said he would do and still protects my parents. I know that Dad is valuable to him, from a monetary standpoint alone, but he could have booted them too after I messed up. So, I do appreciate them sticking to what they said that they were going to do for them. Mom hugged me first, and I can see the tears in her eyes as she looks at my face. I know why, because my face is hers, and seeing me like this, damaged like this, saddens her. It is the very reason that they only come once a month. It hurts their hearts to see me like this. I have been destroyed, because of jealous. Whatever their motive was behind it, doesn't matter now. I have to live like this for the rest of my life. To Clive, it doesn't matter. He still calls me beauty, despite it being a lie now. To him I am still the girl he met at Black Moon, being offered to Aaron as a breeder. But that is not me anymore. I will never be that girl again, they all made sure of that. I lead Mom and Dad into the house that they built for me and Clive, and he is at the door to welcome them too. He walked out to help Dad with the bags he was carrying and then followed us into the house. Mom immediately hugs Tatiana Blair, who is 4 years old. Tatiana is me, and Mom, made over. She looks like a doll, with her long blonde hair and beautiful blue eyes, and she is mine and Clive's oldest child. My actual oldest child, Aaron Trevor, belongs to Aaron and me. He is both his namesake and heir to the pack. We all call him Trevor, and at a little over 4.5 years old, he is his father made over. He got nothing from me at all. He is very strong, and Aaron dotes on him and still does, even with his first child from his true mate, Eloise. The moment she arrived here, and found out who, and what I was for the pack, she immediately hated me to her core. She is trying all the time to get Aaron to denounce Trevor and tell the pack that the 9-month-old that they have together, Austin Evan, will be the next alpha. She will not let it go, but whoever the next alpha is, will completely be Aaron's decision. Eloise is pregnant with their second child now, it is a girl, and she has already announced the name of the new baby, Anais Emily. I have to say that I like the name Anais, pronounced Anaise, and I am happy that Aaron found his mate too. She cut my work down upon arriving here. That was something to be happy about. Another thing to be happy about was the fact that I didn't have to experience what I did when I arrived ever again. They just got overexcited and they all ended up wanting a taste too, but that memory stayed with me. I only wanted to sleep with Clive and the rest of them, especially Michael took that choice away from me. At least Aaron and Darren cared that I had pleasure too, but it was far from being noted as a good day. It was one of my worst days ever, quickly followed a week later by my worst day ever. Beta Darren and his chosen mate Judy are raising the 2 pups that belong to him. Since Judy cannot have babies of her own, they wanted one more. They asked us to lunch and asked me and Clive if we would be willing to not sleep with anyone else until Darren got me pregnant. It is only fair, Darren only has 2 children of the 9 I have gotten pregnant with. He worries about Judy, due to the pain that will come with this since he marked Judy 2 years ago. She felt the pain when he slept with me to create their second child. She knows how to take some pain relief and sleeping pills, so she can sleep through it. She knows that she will still wake up sore, from the pain of it, but it is better than the pain of betrayal. The fact is, they would like a 3rd pup, and they asked nicely. So I will make sure that it happens for them. They are raising the other 2, as their children. I see them, and they haven't been told that I am their biological mother. That is for Darren and Judy to decide, not me. Both children look like Darren, with their brown hair and blue eyes, so they believe that their parents are indeed their parents. Their son, Damon Anthony Rogers, is just a few months over 3 years old. He is a smart little guy, and he is nice to me. They also have a baby girl. Her name is Haley Ann Rogers, and she is almost 2 years old. They are both good children, and Darren and Judy are actually really great parents. I know that the children are nice to me because their parents, Darren and Judy, tell them that I am trustworthy. They make sure to speak to me when they see me and have their children speak to me, as well. Their whole family is kind to me. I wouldn't agree that I am trustworthy. I am mentally not doing as well as I was 5 years ago. The events that have plagued me since we had to flee Silver Blade are pressing down on me, more and more these days. Most of the pack here is against me, and that is the reason I stay in my home. Clive goes and gets our food for us from the pack house, and we cook here at our house. We also have our own little garden with our favorite vegetables growing in it. Clive has not left the pack lands for a while, as he is terrified of losing me. He is scared that if he met his mate, then I would have no one left. He loves me, he wants to protect me, and if I ever leave he would be leaving here with me. But that will be something for us to plan for later on. The house will have to go into his name, so it can't be traced back to Dad, or me. I honestly do not know what I would do without Clive. He is my everything, and if something happened to him, that would probably be my final straw. I do not think that I would want to live anymore, not here at least. I am ashamed to admit that I don't even know if I would be able to do it, not even for my children. They will become someone else's problem at that time, maybe Mom and Dad would take them, I don't know, Aaron would have to figure it out. I cannot feel safe unless I have Clive with me. I worry about him finding his mate and leaving me all alone too. He assures me that he wouldn't, but I know the power, the pull, of the mate bond. That is the very reason that I lost Justin. I would not make it without Clive, the fear of what could happen to me without him would crush me. I already know that I would not be able to survive without him. I participate in the conversation for a little while and we headed to the table to have lunch. Clive always helps me, and he is actually the one to help me learn how to cook. What he didn't know how to do, he got someone out here to help us learn. I will say that after about 20 cooking classes, I can actually cook pretty well now, and I am glad because I don't like going to the pack house to eat. Atlas Daniel is our second baby for us. He was just 2.5 years old and looked just like Clive. He was such a handsome and good-natured boy. Our youngest, Everett James, was just a year old, his birthday was last month. Clive had gone upstairs to get him and Atlas to bring them downstairs after my parents arrived. I am pregnant now with our fourth child together, it is another boy, and we already decided to name him Cyril Wilson. Clive wants another girl, he has begged me to do that for him, and I will. I will do that because I love him too, but that will happen after giving Darren and Judy their third child. That child for Darren will be my last child for anyone other than Clive, no matter what Aaron says about it. Aaron still wanted to keep up our arrangement, but for the goddess's sake, I have done enough for the blood tracker pack. I have given the pack 9 strong pups, in 5 years' time. That is a lot, no matter who you ask. I was pregnant, more than I wasn't, for these last 5 years. I know that I had no real say at the beginning, especially that first day, but things have changed over the years. Aaron, and Darren, have both taken mates, all except Clive have one. Thankfully with him having Eloise, Aaron is scared to approach me anymore. When she was really pregnant, and about to give birth he came out to sleep with me, and I warned him it was a mistake, but he didn't listen. I had a flashback that night of when I messed up with Blake, with Cheryl being pregnant when I did the same to her. I was sick with anxiety that Eloise was going to want to kill me, but I think she knew where the blame lay. Thankfully, she screamed at him through the mind link, and he stopped, but he had already finished by that time. She knew where he was, and that was why my last child for me, Aaron, was almost 7 months old now. That last coupling was our last child together. Aaron still wants to try with me again because you can tell how strong our pups are, but it won't happen again, not if I have something to say about it. Eloise threatened him that if he tried to get me pregnant again, she and her pups will leave. So he leaves me alone now, but I can feel his eyes on me when Clive and I are out and about. Our oldest son, Aaron Trevor, is still named the next alpha for the pack. Eloise is furious about it, and I know it isn't over. She is the daughter of an alpha, but she is weak, and the child she has given him is not nearly as strong as Trevor. I do not know why my pups are stronger than hers are, but they are, and the difference is clear to all that have seen them. The whole pack considers Trevor to be the next alpha. I cannot see anything that Eloise or Austin does, being able to change that fact. But I know that she is not going to rest until Aaron changes their son Austin as the next heir to the pack. She thinks I don't see it, but she is even worse at her plans than I was, you can always see them coming. I have 4 children with Aaron, and they all stay with him. They have a nanny, one that was handpicked to take care of them 4.5 years ago when I had my first child. The nanny is good. She is pleasant to me, and she has taken care of each and every one of them since I weaned them from me. She is a nice person, and even though I do not raise them personally, I do ask if they are okay and if they are not being treated well. I need to know because even though I only keep mine and Clive's babies, I do care about all of my babies. My second child with Aaron is named Henry Anderson Williams, and he is a cross between us, the dark brown hair of his father, and my eyes. He is a very handsome child. Henry will be 3 years old in a little over a month. Our third child is Jonathan John Paul Williams and he has my blonde hair and his father's hazel eyes. He is a very quiet child. He watches and is very observant. Our youngest child, Colette Andrea, is 6 months old. She is a doll and looks exactly like me, and Tatiana with her blonde hair, and stunning blue eyes. The moment she was born she had her father wrapped around her little finger. They are all very handsome children, and I am so proud my all of them. Aaron has already said that he knows that all the girls will be after our sons, and he smiled at that. Right up until I reminded him that the boys will be after Colette too, that took his smile right away. I have them over once a week, to spend the night with their brothers and sisters at my house. They know who I am to them, and they are proud of me, despite what got me demoted to this point. My babies are young, and Trevor cries when they have to leave to go back to the pack house now. He didn't used to do that, this was new, and frankly, I didn't like it. I have heard that Eloise is giving him a hard time. So I ordered him a teddy bear with a camera in it. I just needed proof before I go to Aaron about it. He may belong to Aaron, but I am still his mother, and I will not allow Eloise to pick on him. I just needed to get evidence of what she is doing. I told him to bring the bear with him, so I can check it. Trevor is smart, even at a little over 4.5 years old. He knew how to set it up in his room. The camera angle is wide, and it only records with motion, as I figured that he would have to bring it every other week for me to check, and change out the batteries. He will be here tomorrow to spend the night, and I will check it then. I don't trust Eloise, especially not with the baby. I have told their nanny to never leave Colette with Eloise. The older children can tell me what happened if she were to do something to them, but she is only 6 months old / she is too little to hurt. I will not allow it. I know that I can trust Aaron to do the right thing, as having the strong pups was all his idea. He wanted the strong pups, and now he needs to protect them. Even if it was from his own mate. I could care less what he says, they are my children too, and I will not allow her to hurt any of them. I will fight her over this. I do not care if she is Luna. Or if you want to pay for more such audiobooks, you can send us a request in a private Facebook group, or join us on WhatsApp, a link is given in the video description. The rest of the audiobooks will be uploaded in the next episode. Join us on Patreon to listen to more unlimited audiobooks.